Hi everyone. It's been way too long. I don't know if I even expected to make another deck profile video thing, but I'm bored and it's quiet and I got a new phone. So camera quality slightly less awful. Still going to be shaky because I'm still using my dominant hand to film and my non-dominant hand to awkwardly shuffle about pieces of cardboard. Anyway, as you can see, I'm late to the party. I'm not late to the party. I've had this deck for ages. I'm late to making a deck profile though of Zoodiac. Pretty good control deck. Pretty good rogue deck. It was. Basically, if you're gonna play this, it's I don't know. It's like if Salamangreat had a slightly weaker, less consistent sort of playstyle, less of a comeback playstyle. Kind of if when your plays get stopped, you're kind of dead. And also it's older, so less hard once per turns, I guess, if you want to consider that an upside. Anyway, it's a deck that plays way too many hand traps, way too many control cards, and basically relies on Trident to do pretty much anything, and also Rat, but Rat's at 1, so yeah. Provided my phone storage doesn't run out, I'll try and get a test combo included in this video. We've also got some not side deck choices, but other cards you could consider running. You can run them in a side deck. They're basically just stuff that I couldn't fit into the main deck. The main deck's already 42 cards. But yeah, if you're interested, if you enjoy this kind of very low budget, poor quality deck profile, then you can subscribe. I'm not going to force you to. I don't know what my upload schedule is. It just kind of, if I feel like it, I'll make a video with the garbage quality cards that I own. I have Adamantipator somewhere. It's down by my feet, so I can't actually reach it at the moment. But might do a deck profile on that, provided Block Dragon doesn't get hit by the time I find the self-esteem to do it. But yeah, getting into the Zoodiac main deck. One rat. This card is one card combo into your boss monster, which isn't Trident. Kind of misled you there. Ooh, sneaky. Yeah, no, there's another monster. You guys, if you know anything about the game, probably know what that is. But yeah, Rat is your one card into that. It's a Foolish on summon. You get to send any Zoodiac, so you want to send a card which I'll point out later. Just got to get one more monster out of the way that you run. This card is a 2-card combo to make your boss monster, and that is the Thoroughblade. And Thoroughblade is on summon, discard a Zoodiac card to draw a card. That's pretty nice. It's not hard once per turn, I don't believe. No, it's not hard once per turn. And basically, you'll have to excuse me, they're American prints, they're a bit ugly, but you can normal this, discard the card that we will get to, and then draw a card, and then because that card is now in your grave, you have full combo. So you need to run 3 Thoroughblades. This one, you could probably get away with running 2, but it's a bit weird. I used to have ultis of him, don't anymore. I think I sold them for like a $5 each when Zoo was completely dead, which was a bit dumb of me. Should have kept them. But 3 Whiptail. So when it's equipped, when your Zoodiac XEs battles, while it's in an XE's material, you can detach material and like banish whatever it battled. You can kind of crash in and banish some things, get rid of problematic stuff. The best thing about it is that it's a quick effect. Attach it from your handle field to an XE's. So you can like, say you have like a Trident on the field, you can attack with this guy, then attach it to the Trident, and now the Trident's 1200 stronger. Yeah, it's the best sort of material to have on a zoo. I forgot to say, Rat does nothing because it's at 1, so does nothing when it's attached. Thoroughblade makes your Xyz monster do piercing. Right, this is when I keep chatting up. Ram. If it's destroyed by a card effect, you can special a zoo from the graveyard. No restrictions on that. Yeah, no restrictions on it, except it can't be a ram. And when it's equipped, if a trap targets the Xyz monster that it's attached to as material, detach material, negate the effect, negate the activation, so it can stop imperm. It can stop your Dryden from getting impermed. But yeah, basically that's the card that you want to use with either Rat or Thoroughblade to really start popping off with your combos. Last two Zoo monsters, one Cataroost, one Bunny Blast. These exist for a reason, some kind of reason. Don't really know what that reason is, but basically they this one negates monster effects that target, this one negates spell effects that target. That's basically what you're using it for, using it to pitch and then reattach with Chakanine. That's about it. This one shuffles a Zoo back into the deck on destruction. This one adds one to hand. I don't know if that ever... It does come up, but it comes up a negligible amount of times. You're pretty much just using these guys to attach as material, but they're still worth having. You can probably cut down to just one or the other, depending on how the format goes. So say there's like no targeting spells, because Sky Striker gets mutilated again and they just don't show up, then yeah, you can probably cut the Bunny Blast, or say we enter a format where Striker gets engaged back and becomes the best deck of the format again. At that point, you can cut the Cataroost because there's going to be fewer monster effects targeting, and Bunny Blast will negate Widow Anchor. Things like that. Then you just play, just hand traps, just loads of hand traps, just so many hand traps. Play whatever you want. I'm playing 7. Play whatever 7 you want. I've got 2 Veiler because I'm buying Imperms tomorrow, and then they will take ages to show up in the post. So, you know, I kind of wanted to make a video today because I had the self-esteem. So we're running Veiler. Ogre, kind of like the idea of robbing your opponent of link material. You know, if they Hulk and all you've got is an Ogre, you can Ogre it, do some things. I don't know. It's decent. It was better last format. I'll show you some other hand traps you can run if for some reason you don't know what hand trap's good at the moment. 3 Ash, because you Ash the Block Dragon or the Hulk or the Gallant Granite against Adamantipator, and you basically ruin their day. Spells and traps. I think that's 19 monsters, something like that. It's a 42 card deck, as I said. So we're just about getting close to halfway. Barrage, best card in the deck. Just insane. Right, I'm gonna try and do this with 2 hands, so it's a little bit less shaky. So you guys can have a look at Barrage. Basically, it tutors any Zoo straight from the deck, and you can pop itself with its effect, and it will still resolve. So you can activate Barrage. Say you have, theoretically, you have an Xyz on the field. Let's get our Dryden. Let's get our Dryden. So say we have, here we go. We've got our Dryden, and our Dryden has no materials on it, so we can't pop anything at the moment. Sorry, my finger got in the way. We can't pop anything at the moment with our Dryden, but we can activate Barrage, pop the Barrage. The Barrage will go to the grave, and then we can get any Zoo from our deck. So we can special a Whiptail. Then, because Barrage is sent to the grave, its other effect activates, and it can attach itself to a Beast Warrior Xyz. It might be specifically a Zoo Xyz, but it doesn't matter. Whack it on the Dryden. Dryden now has a pop. Now you can attack with the Whiptail, deal 12. And then use the Whiptail effect and attach it to the Dryden. And now you've got a Dryden with 2 materials, 2 pops, 1200 attack. Not massive, but you know, it's very, very nice to have that disruption. So Barrage, obviously also because it does summon from deck, gets your combo plays doing. You know what? Actually, it's a bit. I'm gonna hold it with my my left hand and do the card by card with my right. I feel like this can work. I can get a comfortable grip on this, and if not, you'll just hear me screaming in pain from the cramps. Okay, so that was some post. Don't know if you could hear that. It's probably what did I order? It's probably some cards, some random junk. Tenki, it's a deck of Beast Warriors. This is reinforcement of the army for Beast Warriors, and it gives you 100 attack. Not really relevant, but it's 100 attack. You know, maybe you've got a 27 and you need to beat over a 2750. Was it Sanguijin? Is Sanguijin the vanilla from back before I was born, probably? I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. The 100 attack might come up. You're just using it for the search. Who am I kidding? You're searching with it. 3 called by. You go first, and you do not want your rapier or your thoroughblade to be ashed. I mean, you can ash the thoroughblade because you don't discard until resolution, so you don't actually lose any resources. Well, actually, I guess that makes ash even more hurtful because you can't discard the ram to get it into the grave. So yeah, you want to play called by. You don't want to get ash. You don't want to get veilered. Obviously, you can't stop in Nibiru, but yeah, at that point, you can make a decent zoo play in 4 summons. You don't really need to worry too bad about Nibiru unless you're getting greedy and going for Megaclops turn 1. Oops, I've let slip the name of the big boss monster, but you probably already knew it. 3 desires, draw 2. Thanks card. Playing 2 Avarice. It's Zoodiac. You pump like 12 monsters into your graveyard turn 1 by just laddering your Xyz plays up. You just kind of whack a Tiger Mortar, a Chakanine, a Hammer Kong, a Bulbo into a Trident. You can send the Trident to the grave to make Gravity Controller. Bam, you've got like 6 cards in your grave at this point. You activate Avarice, shuffle 5 back, draw 2, carry on playing, keep extending. Nice times. 1 Ovs, 1 Reborn, 1 Foolish. I've already mentioned that you really want Ram in grave. Ram in grave plus any zoo is full combo for a Megaclops, so you play the Foolish. And Reborn, you can Reborn back kind of any resources that you might need. You can Reborn back a Ram to pop it with Barrage, because Barrage doesn't need to, it doesn't need to pop itself. You can bring a Ram back from the grave and then pop that Ram with Barrage, and then you get like 2 monsters. So Reborn's very good in the deck as well. Reborn's good in most decks. It's a free summon from the grave. 3 Judgments. Don't have to be Lost Arts. I just have Lost Arts. It's practically an Omni Gate. You don't really care too much about your life points in this deck. You care about board control. You care about presence. You care about limiting what the opponent can do because your boards are quite easy to break. So you'd rather sacrifice life points and keep your Trident or your Megaclops on the field. Then we're also playing 3 Solemn Strikes because it's extra negation. It stops special summons, so you can stop like Hauke Fibrax combos. You can stop Nibiru if they're gonna try and Nibiru you turn 3 for some reason. I don't know. It's very good. I don't really know how to verbalize how good the Solemn Brigade is. You should just know by now that at this point in the game, the Solemn cards are well worth using. I don't have any warnings. I don't think I play warning anyway, just because the space is a bit tight. 2 Crackdowns. You can steal a monster of the opponent's. It negates it. It stops them getting resources. And if you steal a level 4, you can make a rank 4 play. If you steal an Xyz, there's 1 less Xyz that you need to make Megaclops. It's really, really good. Lets you kind of control the game state a bit more. Kind of like why Altergeist play the card, only without the multi-faker interaction. Finally, 1 combo. You can attach any zoo from the deck to an Xyz you control, a zoo Xyz you control as material. So that's already pretty good. You can provide some much needed sort of protection, things like that. You can attach a Thoroughblade for some power, a Whiptail to banish some cards, and then it also has an Avarice-like effect where you target, I think it's 5 Zoodiac cards in the grave with different names. You shuffle all 5 into the deck and then draw cards. So you can recycle your Trident and your other Xyz. So yeah, that is the main deck. It's a bit cluttered. It's very, very tight. Like I said, I didn't want to go above 40, but as I was fitting everything in. Just like that, I was at 42, and I thought, well, I'm gonna call it a day there. We don't want to go too crazy. For the extra deck, though, the extra deck is very, very straightforward. You're kind of almost maxing out on your Zoo Exceeds. They take priority, so you got your one Dryden. This card is a very, very good card. So all the Zoo Exceeds monsters can once per turn be summoned using only a singular Zoodiac as the entire Xyz material. You can only summon each Zoo Xyz once per turn that way. That's not a once per turn on the total summon of a zoo. It's just summoning it as using only one material. That's once per turn. So that's something that you need to know, especially for your Mega Clops combo, is that, it doesn't need to be, you can only summon each one once, because you can bring them back from the grave. You can hard make zoos like Chakanine as many times as you want. And then Dryden is a quick effect, target and destroy any face-up card on the field. So she's really good on that, and of course all the Zoo Exceeds gain attack equal to the non-Exceeds Zoodiacs that are underneath it. So she can get pretty big. 2 Therablades under her, she's 32, so that's really, really good. The next Xyz, arguably the one that enables you to kind of combo off, is your Chakanines. So you detach a material and target a zoo in the grave and special summon it, but it can't be used as Xyz material that turn. So what you're primarily doing is you're bringing back a Ram, and then turning your Chakanine into a Dryden, detaching that Chakanine to pop the Ram, and then the Ram effect will bring the Chakanine back. Then you can go into the next Xyz, which is Tiger Mortar. We only play 2 of her because she is kind of she's your extender for your combo. You can detach a material from this one, and then attach a Zoodiac from the graveyard to another Zoodiac Xyz, or herself. You're just to a Zoodiac Xyz. So you would bring back the Chakanine that you detached off the Dryden to pop the Ram, and then make a Tiger Mortar and attach a material to the Chakanine. And because none of these are hard once per turns, they are all soft once per turns, you can then use Chakanine's effect again and bring back the Dryden, and now you have 3 Xyz on the field, and that is the materials required for a Mega Clops. Or you can go, you can keep the Dryden on the field and maybe pump some Whiptails under it, things like that, use combo, and then make a number F0 Utopic Future, which I will show you in just a minute what that card does. It's very, very good. There's a lot of stealing of resources in this deck, I've just realized. Then we're playing, I think it's 2 Zoodiac Bulbos. This is just another Zoodiac Xyz that you want to kind of use to get names into the graveyard. It can attack directly as well, so going into time, you can kind of summon a Broad Bull's band, a Therablade, whack a Bulbo over it, attack for 16, and then time gets called and your opponent gets salty because you've basically double cowboyed them. Cowboy. That's what's probably in that post. Thank you, Brain, for reminding me through Zoodiac combos. Basically, yeah, it's just another name. But you do need that other name, so that's why you have to play a multiple. And then finally, the one Hammer Kong. This guy is your protection. While he has material, your opponent cannot target other Zoodiac Xyz or just other Zoodiac cards you control with effects, except for him, but you have to detach a material every single... is it standby or is it end phase? It is in the end phase, and that's both players' end phases. So if you bring it back off of Chakanine, and its effect is negated, I believe, its on-field effects are negated, I think, if it's summoned off of Chakanine. Yes, it has its on-the-field effects negated, so you can bring a Hammer Kong back, attach material under it, and then you don't have to detach, and then you have 1 turn of protection through the Hammer Kong, and then during your opponent's end phase, you detach material and he loses the protection effect. But he does also detach on your turn if you haven't negated his effects. That's something very important to remember. That's a bit of upkeep that's very important because it does make him slightly worse, which is why you really only want to play the 1. I have the 1 Digusto Emerald in here, simply for tradition. It is like a mini Zoodiac combo. You target 3 monsters in the grave, shuffle them back, draw 1, but you don't really make rank 4s too easily in this deck, which sounds kind of ironic. But outside of your Zoodiac Exceeds, you're not really hard making any Xyz monsters very often. But it's still, good enough to be worth running, in my personal opinion. Just for the draw power, just for the additional draw power. The one Tornado Dragon, spell and trap removal. As you saw in the main deck, I don't actually run any spell and trap removal, so if I end up playing against Mystic Mine, I do lose, but if I'm playing against like a Floodgate, then Tornado Dragon's kind of my out to that. You can side deck, you'll see in my option, my little pile here of stuff that you could run. You will see that there are like Cosmic Cyclones in there. So you can run spell and trap removal, but this guy does tend to do the job, especially at my locals where there's not very much back row floating about. It's a lot of combo decks. F-Zero Utopic Future. So you summon him using 2 Xyz monsters with the same rank except numbers. And can't be destroyed by battle, neither player takes any battle damage, he's 0/0, so that's good, otherwise you'd be taking a lot of hurt. And at the end of the damage step, if he's battled, so even if the opponent attacks into it, you can take control of the opponent's monster until the end phase. And then if he'd be destroyed by a card effect, you can just whack a material off of him. So he kind of protects himself with his materials. His Effector Steel doesn't use any material, which is really, really good. So he's like your alternate win condition if your opponent is playing Xyz and can out Mega Clops. Playing the one Gravity Controller, this is just for Avarice, to kind of fill up your grave. You can get rid of a gigantic zoo that's chilling in your extra monster zone with like 6 materials under it, and then bam, your Avarice is live. And you also get a bounce, kind of in a way. But your main Link monster, the only other Link monster in the deck, and the final card of the extra deck, is Infinitrack Fortress Mega Clops. 4,000 attack, Link 3, huge card, 3 Xyz monsters, unaffected by all monster effects except for Xyz monsters, and I believe it can't be destroyed by battle except with an Xyz monster either, so if your opponent doesn't play any Xyz, they're kind of screwed. And then once per turn, target any card your opponent controls. It can even be like face down back row, literally any card they control, spell, trap, monster, take control of it, whack it on your field, and then Xyz summon. Just whack an Xyz monster on top of the card you stole, so you can, but the Xyz monster has to come from your grave. Say your Trident's been used to make Mega Clops, you then steal a card off the opponent with Mega Clops, whack a Trident on it, there you go, you got a pop as well as your giant unkillable beat stick. It is also possible at some times to make 2 of these, at which point, yeah, I think your opponent should probably scoop at that point. That just about sums up the main deck and the extra deck. Final thing I want to just quickly gloss over is your other sort of hand traps and alternatives that you can run if you don't want to run things like Ghost Ogre, because they're not relevant in your meta at your locals when locals reopen again. July the 4th over here in the UK. Get in there. 3 Nibiru the Primal Being. Opponent summons 5 times, wipe the board. Nice, nice. Good, good. Token Collector. If your opponent's playing Adamantipator or Eldritch or any kind of Halqifibrax, Link Cross or Aurodon combos, pick this guy up. Get him. So many people overlook this. You whack him down, your opponent can't make any tokens. Wow. Their Aurodon is now a 2100 vanilla. Very, very nice. If the format shifts back to a very search-heavy format, Droll, obviously, stop your opponent searching more than once. I love this card. It's not very good, though. But, it might get its format, and that is no material. Obviously, you can also play Phantasme if we go into a very link-heavy format. Basically, just any sort of hand trap type thing. They're all good for their own situations. Going second, you definitely want to side this when you go second. Dark Ruler no more, because you cannot deal with things like Boral Savage, Herald of the Arclight screws you, because you want to send from the deck to the grave, you want to send from the hand to the grave. Herald of the Arclight, yeah, no, they're banished instead. Really, really bad. Definitely get some Dark Ruler no mores if you're going to play this deck and be forced to go second. Reboot. Another going second card, stop your opponent from solomoning you so that you can solemn them. Already mentioned Cosmic Cyclone as spell and trap removal. Banishing is better because Eldritch is a deck You do not want to get caught by, you know, twin twistering a Conquistador and a Sanguine, and then they just go, oh, cheers, mate, I'm going to go +2. Forbidden Chalice, this was my budget imperm alternative until I realized that imperm is just better, and proceeded to find someone who could sell me a set. So they should be there for the next list that I do. And then finally, if you really want to, you can play Trap Trick with different Dimension Ground. But I think it's too many spots for what would be the only normal trap in the deck. So, you can maybe side deck it. I'd argue side deck different Dimension Grounds regardless, because on your turn, on your opponent's turn, sorry, you're not really sending too much to the grave, so not too much will get banished outside of like whatever you detach off of the Trident. Besides that, not a lot's going to be going to the banished zone that you don't want to be banished. So I'd argue maybe that's worth having in the side. But either way, yeah, the deck is very, very fun. It's very sort of field presence heavy. You want to maintain that presence and that pressure on the opponent and kind of whittle them down with smaller exceeds. They don't tend to get very, very huge, but when they do have the potential to, but most of the time you're just kind of whittling them down slowly, keeping them in check, controlling their board state with your powerful spells and traps and your hand traps. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them down in the comments. Constructive criticism as always. Really, really love it. Trying to make these as good as possible. And I know that they're longer, they're rambly, but I find those sort of 10-15 minute deck profiles, sometimes you miss some of the sort of more nuanced reasoning behind some of the card choices. And I like to explain exactly why I'm running every single card that I am. I will do probably the Zoodiac combo if you guys would like to see that. I can do that as a separate video, just showing you guys what exactly you do just to make a Megaclops or to make a big enough sort of Trident on your first turn to play around Nibiru. Anyway, as always, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully the camera's been a little less shaky. I know that it's not perfect. There's been some times where it has shaken quite bad. My hands flying into the camera. I'm trying to improve. Obviously, the camera quality. I hope you guys enjoy that you can now actually read the cards, and I will see you, potentially, if I ever make another one, in the next video. Goodbye.